Hello dear student, myself Mrs. Usha Lodawar, faculty from Ferguson College, Pune. In previous lecture, we have studied about the moment of inertia. Then we have learned about the theorem of parallel and perpendicular axes. We have seen that why it is necessary to study the theorem of parallel and perpendicular axes, because we can find out the moment of inertia when the axis of rotation is passing symmetry. But it is not necessary that for all bodies the axis of rotation should pass through the point of symmetry. If axis of rotation is passing through any point which is not a point of symmetry, then moment of inertia about that axis of rotation is given by using this theorem of parallel and perpendicular axes. Now, also we have studied about the radius of gyration. In today's lecture, we will see what is the angular momentum, what is the law of conservation of angular momentum, and how this angular momentum in rotational motion is analogous to linear momentum in translational motion. So let us move to the PowerPoint presentation. Now here today we are going to study about the angular momentum, or it is also known as the moment of linear momentum. I think you might be learnt about the linear momentum. What is the linear momentum? When mass is in motion, we can say that the mass is performing the linear momentum. Okay, now this linear momentum and angular momentum, they are analogous quantity in translational and in rotational motion. Now consider this figure. We know, suppose this particle is performing a circular motion along this circumference of circle. Then we already know the linear velocity of that particle is along the tangent to the circle, so that this linear momentum will also be along the tangent to the circle. So direction of this linear velocity and linear momentum are same. In the same manner, see, this is the angular momentum. Now we already know the direction of the angular velocity is given by the right hand thumb rule, and its direction is outward and perpendicular to the plane of figure. In the similar manner, the direction of the angular momentum is also same as the direction of this angular velocity, and direction of this angular momentum is also given by using the right hand thumb rule. So direction of the angular velocity is also outward and perpendicular to the plane of rotation. Now here see, consider this P is the instantaneous linear momentum of a particle performing the circular motion. Then its angular momentum at the instant is given by the equation vector L equal to vector R cross vector P. Here vector R is the position vector taken from the origin, and P we already know it is the linear momentum, because angular momentum is the moment of linear momentum. So its equation will be L equal to R cross P, and this is a vector quantity. Now in magnitude, it is the product of linear momentum and its perpendicular distance, this R, from the axis of rotation. So we can write down L equal to P into R sine theta. Okay, this is not representing the cross, but this is P into R sine theta. where this theta is the smaller angle between the directions of this P and this R, you can see from this figure. Okay. Now, here we will find what is the expression for angular momentum in terms of the moment of inertia, and here we will see how this angular momentum is analogous to the linear momentum. Now consider this is the rigid body which is consisting finite number of particles, okay, having the masses m1, m2 and mn, which is the finite number of particles. So these masses are situated at a distance of r1, r2, rn from the axis of rotation. And we already know that as this rigid body is rotating, then different particles of the body, they are revolving in the horizontal circle, because this rigid body is rotating about an axis of rotation in the horizontal plane. Means axis of rotation is perpendicular to the plane, and this rigid body is rotating in a horizontal plane, so that these different particles of the body is revolving in a circle, and they possess a linear velocity in a direction along the tangent to the circle. So this is the linear velocity of the particle m1, which is situated at a distance of r1. And this is the linear velocity of a particle m2, which is situated at a distance of r2. And linear velocity of the particle mn. Now here we will see what is the expression for angular momentum in terms of the linear moment, in terms of moment of inertia. And we will see how this angular momentum is analogous to the linear momentum. Now consider this is the rigid body which is rotating in a horizontal plane about an axis of rotation, passing through the body and perpendicular to plane of the figure. This body is composed of finite number of particles which are situated at a distance of Rn, R1, R2 and Rn from the axis of rotation. Now, we already know that when the rigid body is rotating, different particles of the body, they are revolving in a circle. So they possess the linear velocity. The direction of the linear velocity, as we know, is along the tangent to the circle. So the linear velocity of the particle is in this direction. Linear velocity of the particle is in this direction, and linear velocity of the last particle is in this direction. Now, as it possesses a linear velocity, we will see how we can find out the kinetic energy of this particle. Now, we know the relation between the linear velocity and angular velocity as v equal to r into omega. So according to this, the linear velocity of the first particle, which is at a distance of r1 from the axis of rotation, is given by the equation v1 equal to r1 omega. Similarly, linear velocity of the second particle will come v2 equal to r2 into omega. In this way, linear velocity of the last particle is vn equal to Rn into omega. So this omega is constant because this rigid body will be rotating with a constant angular velocity. Now, linear momentum of the first particle is of magnitude P1 equal to m1 v1, which is equal to m1 r1 into omega. Substitute the value of v1 from this equation here. Now, and the direction of this linear momentum is along the direction of this velocity v1, which is along the tangent to the circle. So just this, about this we have seen in our previous slide. Now its angular momentum L1, that is the angular momentum of the first particle, is P1 into R1, which is equal to what is P1 M1 into R1 square into omega, because P1 is M1 R1 omega. So this R1 and this R1 will become R1 square. So it is M1 R1 square into omega. Similarly, the angular momentum of the second particle is M2 R2 square omega. Angular momentum of the third particle is L3 equal to M3 R3 square omega. In this way, angular momentum of the last particle is Mn Rn square into omega. Now, the direction of this angular momentum is along the axis of rotation, and which is obtained by using the right hand thumb rule, just we have discussed in the previous slide. Now, the magnitude of the angular momentum is given by the sum of all angular momentum of the individual particles, that is L equal to M1 R1 square omega plus M2 R2 square omega plus Mn Rn square into omega. Now, from all these equations, I will take omega as common. So, this equation will become M1 R1 square omega plus M2 R2 square omega plus Mn Rn square into omega. Now, we already know this M1 R1 square omega plus M2 R2 square omega plus Mn Rn square omega is capital I, which is nothing but the moment of inertia, because moment of inertia is the product of mass of the particle and square of its distance from the axis of rotation. Okay, now equation for angular momentum, just I got L equal to I omega. So this L will be equal to I into omega, and this equation is analogous to the equation P equal to M into V of linear momentum. Moment of inertia I replaces the mass, which is its physical significance. Omega in rotational motion is analogous to V, that is the linear velocity in translational motion. Again, this moment of inertia I in rotational motion is analogous to the mass in translational motion, so that we can say that the angular momentum in rotational motion is analogous quantity to the what is linear momentum in translational motion. So now this analogy between the linear momentum and angular momentum we can clear here. See, angular momentum L is given by the equation I cross omega, which is the product of moment of inertia and angular velocity. Similarly, linear momentum is given by the equation M into V, which is the product of mass into velocity. Here, this sign implies the simple multiplication. It does not show in the cross product, it is the simple multiplication. Again, from this figure, you can clear that we already know by using the right hand rule, we have already given the direction of the omega, which is along this axis or along the thumb, outstretched thumb, and perpendicular to the sense of rotation. Similarly, this direction of the linear velocity is in the direction of this omega. Okay, in this way, the linear momentum in rotational motion is analogous quantity to the linear momentum in translational motion. Okay, so this is about the linear momentum. Now next we are going to study about the torque. Now many things about this torque you might be learned in the 11th standard. Now see, we already know the torque, which is also known as the moment of force, is measure of force that can cause an object to rotate about an axis. It is denoted by the symbol tau. Okay, it is known as the tau. Now, this torque is a vector quantity. Its direction is along the axis of rotation, and can be given by using the right hand thumb rule. And this torque, as it is always along the axis of rotation, it is also known as the axial vector. Now, this torque produces an angular acceleration of a body just like a force which produces the linear acceleration of a body. So that this torque in rotational motion is analogous quantity to the force in the linear motion. Now, in earlier 11th standard, we have studied that we know what is the definition of this torque. So, it is the product of magnitude of the force and the perpendicular distance of the line of action of force from the axis of rotation. Now, we are going to find out what is the expression for torque in terms of a moment of inertia. Okay. Now, here we will find the expression for torque in terms of moment of inertia. Again, consider that this is the rigid body which is composed of a finite number of particles, okay, of masses m1, m2, mn, okay, which is rotating about an axis, rotating in a horizontal circle about an axis, passing through this point and perpendicular to the plane of rotation with constant angular velocity omega. Okay, now we already know the relation between the angular acceleration and linear acceleration as A equal to R into alpha. So that acceleration of the first particle m1, which is at a distance of r1 from the axis of rotation, is given by a1 equal to r1 into alpha. Similarly, linear acceleration of the second particle is r2 into alpha, because this, as omega is constant, this angular acceleration alpha will also be constant. Okay. Now, in this way, the linear acceleration of the last particle is given by the equation an equal to rn alpha I. Okay. Now, what is the force experienced by the first particle? Okay. Now, the force is always the product of mass into acceleration. So, force exerted by the first particle of mass m1 is F1 equal to m1 into a1. Substitute the value of a1 from this equation. So, we will get m1 into r1 alpha. Second, as these forces are tangential, their respective perpendicular distances from the axis of rotation are r1, r2, rn. Why these forces are tangential? Because linear velocity is in a tangential direction. So, this force must be in a tangential direction. So, we can write down thus the torque expressed by the first particle is of magnitude τ1 equal to F1 into R1. Because in 11th standard, we have learned that the torque is always the product of force, magnitude of the force and perpendicular distance of this force from the axis of rotation. So, τ1 equal to F1 into R1, that is equal to M1 R1 square alpha, because we have to substitute the value of F1 from this equation, which is M1 R1 alpha. So, this equation will become M1 R1 square into alpha. Now, second, similarly, torque acting on the second particle by the second particle is given by the equation τ2 equal to M2 into R2 square alpha. In τ3 will be equal to, that is the torque acting on a particle having mass M3 is M3 R3 square alpha. In this way, the torque acting on a last particle is τn equal to Mn Rn square alpha. Now, if the rotation is restricted to a single plane, the direction of all these torques are the same and along the axis. Okay, now direction of the all torques are along the axis. So magnitude of the resultant torque is given by the sum of all the individual torques which are acting on individual particles. So we can write down this tau equal to tau 1 plus tau 2 plus tau n, or which is equal to m1 r1 square plus m2 r2 square plus mn rn square. Here I am adding all these terms and alpha is taken as common, which is a constant quantity. Now as we already know, this m1 r1 square plus m2 r2 square plus mn rn square is a capital I, which is the moment of inertia. So I can write down this equation as I equal to m1 r1 square plus m2 r2 square plus mn rn square is the moment of inertia of the object about the given axis of rotation. So I got the relation tau equal to I into alpha. And this equation is analogous to the force in linear motion, which is equal to m into a. So for the translational motion, if the moment of inertia I replaces the mass, which is the physical significance. So we already know that I in rotational motion is analogous to mass in translational motion. Then alpha in rotational motion is analogous to a in translational motion, so that this torque tau is analogous to, in rotational motion, is analogous to the force in linear motion. And again we can say that this is the physical significance of the moment of inertia. Now after that we will start for the next article, conservation of angular momentum. Now in 11th standard, we have learned what is the conservation of linear momentum. So what is that what is the statement of conservation of linear momentum? If there is no external forces acting on a bodies of the interacting system or acting on a interacting system of a bodies, then the total linear momentum of this system will always remain constant. Now, similar law we have to here verify by using the law of conservation of angular momentum. So here I will revise whatever may be learnt in today's lecture. We have seen what is the angular momentum or the moment of linear momentum, and how this angular momentum is analogous to the linear momentum in translational motion. Okay, we have learned all these things. Okay, now then we have seen what is the expression for angular momentum in terms of the moment of inertia, and see we have derived this equation for the angular momentum L equal to I omega, and by comparing the equation L equal to I omega in rotational motion with the equation P equal to m into v in translational motion, we have seen how this angular momentum is analogous to the linear momentum. Then we have also seen this analogy by using these two equations, this angular momentum L equal to I omega and linear momentum P equal to m into v. We have seen the direction of the linear velocity and angular velocity. They at the direction of the linear velocity is along the tangent to the circle, so linear momentum will also be along the tangents to the circle. Okay, so in the similar manner, as the angular velocity is perpendicular outward and perpendicular to the plane of figure, in the similar manner angular momentum is also outward and perpendicular to the plane of figure, and this direction is given by the right hand thumb rule. Then we have learned about the torque, and these many things about the torque which I'm showing you here, that we have already learned in 11th standard. Then we have derived the expression for torque in terms of the moment of inertia. So we have derived this tau equal to what is I into alpha. Okay, now, and we have seen how this torque is equivalent to a force in the translational motion, because we have compared this tau equal to I alpha with force equal to F equal to M into A. Okay, now in the next lecture we are going to study about the conservation of linear momentum. Hello student. So in this way, in today's lecture, we have learned about the angular momentum in rotational motion, and how this angular momentum in rotational motion is analogous quantity to linear momentum in translational motion. Then we have seen the expression for the angular momentum in terms of the moment of inertia. Then we have seen about the torque, okay, and derived the equation for the torque in rotational motion in terms of a force in translational motion. And we have seen how this torque in rotational motion is analogous quantity to the force in translational motion. Thank you.